Really? Do I have to? Do I need to recall this particular exhibit of Marie's? It's a nice memory for her, obviously, but for me it's pretty bitter, even though I can't explain why exactly. A lot of memories came back to me that night. I would stand in the middle of the gallery with my eyes closed, and they'd crop up as if they were connected in some way. Come to think of it, there may be something to unearth in my own personal exhibit. We'll see. Let me show you around. You know this tableau, my little fawn? It's been gathering dust in the back of my personal collection. I haven't displayed it in ages. Here, the artist is depicting her first day at the beach with her daughter. Do you remember? You started worshipping the sand as soon as we got there. You were delighted. We were already imagining you as a teenager with like 7,933 vials of sand everywhere and a subscription to Sand Fans, the Arenaphile Review. Hey, if it was between that or weed, we weren't sure which would be worse. You came up to me with a huge seashell. I never understood where you found it. You handed it to me with great pomp and told me I had to write a movie about it. I complained, I don't know his life. I have no idea what he's thinking about, if he's sad or... And then you asked me, so about what is it that you write movies then? And I was speechless for a moment, but... The weather was so nice that day. We had eaten ice cream under the big umbrella. Then you pulled out your little tongue, your head got close to my arm, and I felt something cold and wet above my elbow. You taste salty, you said. Since the dawn of time, people have needed rituals to mark the big life events. Here, the artist is depicting her final farewell to her daughter. At least that's what she thought at the time. Neither Alex nor I could picture you in a tiny coffin. We really preferred that you remained with us, like fine sand in a pretty vase. But in the end, even that was too heavy. I kept thinking about it. One day, on a whim, I made the call. I didn't tell your father. I didn't feel like explaining. I just called Diane, and I told her to meet me over there, by the sea. And she didn't ask any questions, nothing. She just said, I'll be there. I was crying when we arrived at the cliff, overlooking the beach. Diane gently took out the urn from my hands, opened it towards the sea, and she said, Donnie was a good bowler. And a good man. He was a man who loved the outdoors. And bowling. I burst out laughing, and snot splurted out of my nose all over my fucking chin. And Dan was laughing too, and 1,000 particles of you flew out around us, all up in my hair. I thought it would be freeing to see you leave like this, disappear. That was the goal of this ceremony. But now I know that it didn't work. It didn't make me feel free. Rather, it made me feel the emptiness. Suddenly, I felt it welling up in my heart and my stomach. Happiness. And then, That's it. That's what I wanted to write about. I had totally forgotten this, but at one point in my life, I wanted to write about happiness. Here, the artist is depicting herself on the bus, back from the shore. Outside, the setting sun represents something or other. Is it the end of something? Or the beginning? I was holding your urn against me the whole way back. It was empty, but it felt heavier than ever before. I looked outside the window, and this poem came to my mind. It's Lamartine. I had to learn it by heart in high school. Setting or just rising in a sky clear or gray, what good is the sun? I disregard the day. Were I to track the whole long course of his travel, my eyes would just witness all the void and gravel. I desire nothing that he could ever disperse. I don't demand a thing from the great universe. I was all by my lonesome on the bus back, with just a few specks of you. That's what I felt when I came back from the cliff. The poem, the empty bus, the urn on my knees. A void. Back then, I thought it was a good thing. I said to myself, maybe I can start writing now that this is done. And then... I remember almost every word of the pretentious card next to Marie's painting. The auto-portrait series is undoubtedly Marie de Mange's most ambitious work to date. She arranges herself in a discomfiting position, ripe with malaise and also a certain eroticism. Self-portrait number 8 is the final entry in the series, and one of the most powerful paintings of the 21st century. I couldn't believe how many paintings Marie had done since you died. Meanwhile, when I left Alex, I did get started on something, as if separating from him had inspired me. But after a few months, nothing I had written was worth reading. Apparently the critics and the public loved it. That was the series from which everything started for Marie. I must say that there was something vibrant in these paintings. A sweet and vulnerable mystery in her eyes. It made me sick. I never could bring it up with Marie. But I'm sure that these paintings were actually inspired by the accident. The ground she's lying on. I can almost guarantee you it's pavement. And her discombobulated body as if her bones were broken. No one knows that except me. I believe she painted you instead of her. Why on earth would she make such a twisted thing, do you think? Those paintings made me so angry. I kept thinking this. Marie is feeding off of my bereavement. Through her art, she managed to turn what happened into something else. Something beautiful. I, on the other hand, had nowhere left to go in that moment. I couldn't do it anymore. My bag of happiness was ripped to shreds. Thank you for visiting this exhibit with me, my little fawn. What did you learn? When I see all of this again, I wonder what made me think that making you disappear would take the pain away. Attempting to erase every bit of you meant locking me out of this incredible little room inside my heart. The place that gave me life. The place that inspired me. Now I know that I need to keep that space for you within myself, so that I can write and I can live. You're still with me.
saying that I... What? Disappeared?
No, of course not, my little fawn. But when you died, I found myself in an impossible situation. I was thinking about you all the time. I kept telling myself it was my fault you weren't here anymore. It's awful to love someone that much, you know?
On the contrary, I think it's beautiful.
Sure, it's beautiful and awful. So I looked for a solution.
How?
I did what I always do. I watched movies.
Like what?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's about a couple who are separating.
Mom...
I know. I just wasn't in the mood for rom-coms at the time. If I had been, I wouldn't have gone for something starring Jim Carrey. Anyway, in the movie, there's a machine that erases people's painful memories. Jim Carrey is heartbroken, so he uses that machine because that's the only way he can go on living. That's what I tried to do with you. To get you out of my mind.
Except you didn't have a machine.
No. I had medication, I had a job, and I even did a farewell ceremony. I thought that if I could get you out of my head, I might be able to feel better.
Did it work?
Of course not. Why should it? That wasn't the right way to handle things. Now I know how lucky I am. To be able to think about you every day. Even though it's hard sometimes. I think about the downy little fluff on your arms, glistening in the evening sun. I think about your birthday pizza.
My... what?
For your 4th birthday, you didn't want a cake and asked for a 4-cheese pizza. Your father was so proud. I think about your little doodles. You came back from kindergarten every day with fistfuls of them. We filled up all the walls with them. So we ended up having to sneak some into the garbage.
I knew it!
But I promise I always looked carefully at them before. I think about all of it, little dear. And it's a reminder that you are here with me. I carry that with me into every decision I have to make. And I won't let it go for the world. I'm better now, you know? It still hurts like hell. But I get it. I can survive this. On a good day, I can even convince myself that it could be worse. You might have been a goth teenager.
What's a goth?
Well, I could show you a couple pictures of 14-year-old me. Unfortunately, I think they all got destroyed in a fire or something. What a shame. You've taught me all of this. You helped me open doors inside myself. That's what allowed me to grow. Of course, I'll go on with...
How does the book end?
What book?
Heart Snatcher.
Well, the triplets eat blue slugs, and then they fly away from their mother.
Obviously, blue slugs. And are they happy?
Very much.
There are 2 lessons here. First, Boris Vian was really odd. Really. But also second, sometimes there's no sense fighting what will happen anyway. You said it yourself to Auntie Diane. Remember? I understand why you're sad, Mom. But you can't be sad forever. It doesn't help you, and it doesn't help me. Life's short enough as it is. Why waste any more time?
Do you think it's that easy? That I can just press a button and pow?
You can be so egotistical sometimes.
Excuse me?
Where do I fit into all this?
But I was just...
So what? I'm going to be a bad memory for the rest of your life? A distressing thought inside your head? Do you even realize what that means? I'm scared.
Oh, what are you scared of, my little fawn?
I'm scared that I'll disappear.
But you're already dead.
That's not the point. I'm talking about disappearing from here. This is the only place where I still exist. Just here. But I don't want to be this rusty nail that's killing you by degrees. You do realize that's not me at all? You do know that if you keep at this, I'm not going to exist anywhere. Anymore. You don't have to do this to me, Mom. You don't have to do this to yourself. How much longer do I have to make you miserable?
I know you don't deserve that, my little dear. It's all my fault.
Stop it, Mom. Just stop. You're stuck on repeat. I know that this can be easy to process. And I know that the truth hurts. But right here, right now, you're gonna have to remember. Really.
I'm not sure. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Astrid? Astrid! She's right. Of course she's right. I need to remember now. It's time. I think I'm ready. That's it. I remember now. Not everything, but...
You could at least crack a window. All that rain brought a cool front.
It had just rained. The road was wet and slippery.
Ah, shit, I can't drive with these heels on. I didn't sleep all night. I can't focus. Also...
I was exhausted. Stressed out. In no condition to drive. I was nervous about meeting with my producer.
Mom, watch for the deer!
I don't know why I didn't see the deer earlier. My mind must have been elsewhere. When I heard your warning, my first thought was to avoid hitting it. They were your favorite animal. So I swerved and we ran off the road. And then... What are you doing, my little phone?
Playing with Grandma's dollhouse.
What game?
I'm playing you when you weren't a mom yet.
Can I play? I'll be Alex. Hey, cutie. You come here often?
Hi, do you want a baby?
This is moving a bit fast. What the heck? Let's make the best little girl on Earth.
Of course she'll be the best.
How do you know?
Well, I'm the one making her in my belly, so...
Talking to you was intoxicating. Every time you opened your mouth, I was expecting the unexpected. I loved the way that your little brain continually managed to make sense of the world. But that day, the most astonishing thing was your assurance. How on earth did you have so much trust in me?
Damn, June, I can't believe it. I'm going to be a dad. We're going to be parents. When I got your picture, I yelled so loud, I think 3 guys here had a stroke. I'm just unable to focus on work. I'm so happy. It feels so... I feel like it's going to... to change my life.
I mean,
No, I mean, it's going to change me. Like, I never be the same again. I can't wait. And you, what do you think?
I think you should take the afternoon off and come home.
Oh, okay. But why? Is there an emergency? Do you need me?
I don't need you. But I am wondering what it's like to have sex with a dad.
Wow, what a weird thing to say. I'm on my way.
He was right, you know. Your dad. When you arrived, he changed to his core. Before you were born, he was always a bit lost, a bit wandering through his own life. But from the day you showed up, it was as if everything had become clear for him, as if he finally understood what he was doing here.
Listen to me, Junon. You and Alex brought an extraordinary little girl into this world. Astrid was our sunshine. She gave us all a lot of light all through her tiny life. You were able to make such a being because you have it in you. The sun. And the sun never goes out. It shines. So hang on. And shine bright. I know you can. I'm proud of you.
You and Marie have a connection that's peculiar. You used to spend hours in her shop watching her paint. She loved that you were so curious. She smiled at you, explained stuff to you. She asked for your opinion about her work. Can you imagine? When I was 4 years old, I wasn't even allowed in her damn workshop. But you had something inside of you that completely changed her. Actually, I think this is what saved me that day. The idea that even Marie could be touched by a ray of sunlight. There had to be one out there for me too. It might be the right time for me to admit it, my little fawn. You don't have magical powers. You never had any. You didn't put us under a spell. Not Marie, nor your dad or I. It's easy to hide behind the fact that your being there made everything else possible. And to convince ourselves that your not being there is forever locking us out of being happy. But that's not true. The seeds that allowed us to change were always inside of us. Sure, they were buried deeply, but they couldn't wait to grow. And you were simply an incredible, a wonderful beam of sunlight.
You don't have to do this to me, Mom. You don't have to do this to yourself. How much longer do I have to make you miserable?
My little fawn, I can't do this to you. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive myself for what happened, but you've brought too much light in my life for me to reduce you to that.
What is that? Mom, what do you mean by that?
You know what I mean.
I do, but I'm not sure you do. So I'm going to need you to say it. What is that?
The accident. It was an accident.
Yes, it was an accident, Mom. I lived a life full of joy and laughter and vibrating plastic lightsabers.
You shouldn't ever have found that. And it wasn't a lightsaber.
You think I don't know that? I lived a great life full of love. I will always love Dad, Marie, Diane, and you for everything you've given me. For the cozy spot that you made for me in your lives. And then one day, there was an accident. It was an accident. Say it again.
It was an accident.
An accident. A disaster. A calamity. There's nothing to forgive. It's not your fault. You know that, right? Deep down.
Do I? Then why do I feel all this guilt?
Yeah, that's another mystery. You're angry. But are you sure that you're angry at yourself, Mom?
I don't know.
I believe in you. You'll figure it out. And when you do, you'll make the right decision. I think you're ready now.
I'm ready. Thank you, little fawn. Thank you for your help. You can leave now. I've got this.
I know. I love you very much, Mom.
Me too, Astrid. I love you very, very much. I know you'll always be with me. I can feel you are here, and it gives me strength. And I'm going to need a lot of that if I'm going to go in there. But Marie needs me, and we have a lot to talk about. I guess I should have asked the doctor to give me a little something before I went into this room. You don't get free samples of benzos every day. All right, Junon. Cut the bullshit. Hi, Marie. Sorry I made you wait. I had to sort out a few things. A lot of things. But anyway, you knew I was coming eventually, didn't you? You've always had this weird gift of knowing what we're about to do before we even think about doing it. Once again, you were right. I'm here. But I almost didn't come in. I was close earlier, but I just stood outside the door. I was angry at you. I don't even know why. I mean, you're not exactly the warmest mother in the world. Still, why are things so complicated between us? Why do I always feel so threatened when I'm around you? Come on. A crucifix? You? Wait, is it... I remember now. I've seen this before. Was that last night? Oh, shit, now it's all hazy. Hold on. What's that around your neck? Is that a cross?
This? It's a childhood keepsake. I found it in my stuff a while back.
What? Were you a choir girl or something?
It's a bit more complicated than that.
I'm listening. Please, you never told me anything about your youth.
Ugh. What the heck? After all, why not? That might do me good. And I owe you that.
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. Just shut your mouth, pour me a glass of wine, and listen. We used to live in a small village in the east. Gray, boring, and hideous. People were dumb and mean, always keeping tabs on others to tear them down. And of course, these fakers were in church all the time. I spent years in that cesspool, never asking questions. When I was 14, let me tell you, Jesus was my best friend. I would tell him about everything I did wrong in my head. And let me tell you, I was a terrible kid. Nosy, ill-behaved, always running around. A tiny devil. And also, I had this desire and fire in my chest. Nasty thoughts. But I really thought that he loved me as I was. Back then, I had 3 sources of comfort. Jesus, books, and drawing. So I spent an insane amount of time sketching in the neighborhood churches. It was a disease. Everything I laid eyes on had to end up on a sheet of paper. At least then, people left me alone. Otherwise, let me tell you that I never got a minute of peace. Family with 4 kids living in a 2-room apartment. So, I looked after them. Washing them. Doing their homework. I was the oldest. 7 years ahead of my oldest brother. Those little ones were like my own kids. My mother had too much work. At least, while I was taking care of them, I didn't have those weird desires. My dad always had a steak on his plate when he got home. Every night. My mother used to say that he deserved it, working his ass off at the mill for us. But one night, I was still awake when he came home. He was completely shit-faced. He was living in a fallen world. The steel industry was his life, but his life had no tomorrow. So he drank. That night he looked at me weird. I didn't understand. I felt guilty. My mother always worked her butt off. She would work one factory job after the other, then clean up rich folks' homes. I used to think she was the bravest person in the world. And the strongest. Of course, she had her own temper. She would get into these screaming matches sometimes. And she would drink too. But I was convinced that I could trust her. We were 2 peas in a pod, my aunt and I. She was the whore in the family. She didn't want to settle, she didn't want kids. She had escaped to live the crazy life in Paris. Freedom. The exact opposite of my mother. One time, she told me something about my mom and dad, something that blew everything else up. There was an evening dance. He was 19, and she was 15. According to my aunt, he was a bit tipsy. He brought her into a small clearing, and there, he forced her. They had to get married in a hurry after that, when they learned that my mother was pregnant. Pregnant with me. One night, I went out with some girlfriends and boyfriends. We only went to the movies, but she lectured me. You're bringing shame on this family, she said. People at church are talking. Something bad's gonna happen to you if you keep tempting men. I answered that if it ever happened to me, I, for one, wouldn't marry my abuser. She hit me. For the first time. She hit me again later. I was getting slapped around because she hated her life. I was blaming her for not fighting back. I wasn't going to let her treat me like this. The day after, it felt like a spell was broken. The church stank. The sculptures were ugly. And the male-dominated Jesus stuff made me sick. You don't love me, I whispered to him. Bastard. At that very moment, and that, let me tell you, that's something I'll never forget. The Christ started to bleed. I had my first period right after my tantrum at the church. I was already 14 years old. Pretty late. But then, my body started to develop. The more my body changed, the more my father scared me. Hell, he terrified me. Not just because he was domineering and brutal. It was uncomfortable even being in the same room as him. He was always watching me, commenting on my clothes. I felt like a piece of meat. The last time she raised her hand to me, she hit me so hard. My nose started bleeding. We were having another fight about one of my outings. By that time, I was going out for real, just to spite her. You know me. She called me a harlot. So, I bit back. At least I'm not gonna stick with the first guy who knocks me up. I didn't have time to finish saying it. Whack! She slapped the shit out of me, and she spit out. If it were up to me, you're the one I would have dumped. It's stupid. But that struck me right in the gut. And that's when it came up, boiling. The rage. I tasted blood in my throat. I couldn't think straight. My ears started ringing. I felt a jolt running through my body. Then and it was over. I couldn't walk it back. This cross is the only thing I have left from her, you know? I took it when I left home that very night. I stole it from her. I don't know why I took it. I used to do that a lot back then. Steal stuff. But I'm happy I did it. It gives me a chance to think about her, to remember, never to be like her. You see, I'm always telling you to face things head on. But that day, I left. I met with my aunt in Paris, with just a few cents in my pocket. I never saw them again. Not her, not him. hear, Miss Kivas? Shit, don't tell me you fell asleep. Ugh, what a disaster. You really can't handle your booze. Don't worry, daughter. I will still be there tomorrow, and the next day too. There to tell you again what you already know. People are ugly, let me tell you. They're dangerous, all of them. That's just the way things are. It's inside them. The evil is, we need to defend ourselves. Stay vigilant. That's how I got out of it. Jan gets it, I think. But you, darling, you're too weak. You want to trust people. You want to have faith, but I told you many times. You can't trust anyone. Ever. You don't need me to tell you that. Life's unfair. That's just how it is.
So this is what your life was like. That explains so many things. Now I understand why you can't trust anyone. Why you don't let anyone love you. Anytime I think about how it must have been for you, it's increasingly obvious. How lucky I was to have Astrid. Every second of my life I spent with her was filled with happiness. You never got to have that. Not as a daughter. Nor as a mother. But how could I forget what you told me last night? I mean, I wasn't all there. Too little sleep and too much wine. But for the first time in your life, you open up a little and I nod off? It's absurd. As if I didn't want to hear it. Was it that I was angry that you waited so long before telling me? Or was it something else? Something I didn't want to look in the face until now?
This isn't news to you. It's unfair, but that's how it is. You didn't choose to be my daughter. I didn't choose to be my mother's daughter. I could blame it on God, but that would be giving him too much credit. I don't know who's to blame, really. I do know that it's unavoidable, though. And Astrid, she didn't choose us either. She wasn't supposed to be part of this family. At first, I thought that she could be the one to break the cycle, but in the end, the curse got her too, and it hit again. Harder. My shitty curse.
I still can't believe how much Astrid loved that house.
Why are you surprised? It's awesome.
Really?
Well, yeah. Have you looked at it up close? There's all these little intricate details. You can open the doors, move the furniture, turn on the lights. Marie must have spent a lot of time on it. I don't know. I think it's an awesome present.
When Alex said that, I was reminded about my mobile. Just like the house, it was magnificent, intricate, exquisite. I believe that's why I kept it in my room for so long, hanging above my bed. These two presents were the two singular proofs that Marie cared for us. That was her way of saying she loves us.
Paintings are magnificent. But how do you do it?
Oh, well, that's hard to put into words. Usually I have a theme in my head, a topic I'm obsessed with, and all of a sudden, everything becomes clear. The shapes, the colors, they fight their way through my brain. Kinda like visions. And then I simply must paint. I can't control it. In fact, if I didn't paint in that moment, I could flip, do crazy things.
While Diane and I were dancing, I could hear Marie doing her spiel for Sasha. I'd heard it 100 times. The visions, what she called her mystical experience. A whole lot of crap. 10 minutes later, I set the kitchen on fire. Blinded by the urgency, as if my body was overriding my brain. Just goes to show you. As much as I hate it, she might have been telling the truth about her process. I guess I work like that too. Thank you for the mobile. I can't believe you managed to find it.
Oh, it's nothing.
Do you want to stay for a bit? Coffee, maybe?
No, thank you. I gotta go. I have, a meeting.
A meeting?
Yeah, a thing. Don't worry about it. Say hi to Alex for me.
Oh, I'll call him. He's just in the next room.
Oh, hi, Alex. Bye, Alex. Done. Gotta go. Bye.
I rarely saw Marie being ill at ease, but the few times it did happen was when she came to the house to visit when Astrid was born. It was as if she felt like she was intruding on our family. Maybe because she didn't know what it was like having one.
What for?
You know what for. For what you just told me. For not giving up on me. For your help.
Listen to me, dear. One thing is for sure on this wretched earth. A single thing. It's that you don't need to thank me. For anything. I'll see you Monday at the studio.
I found that really weird at the time. This whole exchange. First of all, Marie saying beautiful things, sounding more loving than ever before. But on top of that, her almost scolding me for thanking her, as if extraordinary circumstances had forced her out of her self-imposed duty to bully me, and that she was having a hard time coming to terms with it.
Mademoiselle, could I have another glass of champagne?
Oh, I don't work here. I'm Marie Demange's assistant, also her daughter.
Her daughter? Remarkable. But you don't look anything like her. Do you paint as well?
No, I don't. I'm more of a...
Of course you don't. Why would you, with such a talented mother around?
I've never felt like I'm competing with Marie. My love for the movies, my penchant for writing, I did it all for myself, without thinking about her. But perhaps she was actually feeling threatened, as if the creative process was uniquely hers, her exclusive domain. What about those over there, in the tank? Are they still alive?
Of course. The true connoisseur prefer to cook their lobsters at the last minute. And
I'll take them.
Absolutely, miss. Do you want one or two?
I want them all.
I mean, there's about 2 dozen in there. Did you win the lottery or something?
I'll need one of your coolers too, for the road. I drove to the ocean, opened the box and threw them back in the sea. Freeing them was pointless, laughable even. But it felt amazing. I was able to change things. I could reject the fact that it is what it is. Just say no. What's the point in being alive if everything's already been decided for us?
And so, you're working for Marina.
It's not like that, Alex.
Like what?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I left you to run back to my overbearing mother's clutches. No, you're wrong. That's not it.
I'm well aware that you don't need your mother. She's the one who needs you.
For a moment there, I thought Alex was out of his mind. Marie needing me?
Where did the bird go?
Oh, it's gone.
It is?
Yes. Early this morning, I opened the windows to let in some fresh air. It jumped on the edge of its box, looked at me, and then it flew away.
Oh. Did it look happy?
It did, my dearest daughter. It looked so happy.
That was a lie, of course. I know that now. But I believed that beautiful story at the time, without reservation. That's another thing which doesn't work in my relationship with Marie. The fact that she would lie to me because she doesn't believe I'd be able to face the truth. The fact that she doesn't trust me to deal with it.
It's stifling hot in there.
Yeah, sorry, AC's broke. Get in, we're running late. Don't sit on my script!
You could at least crack a window. All that rain brought a cool front.
Mima, Mima, Mima!
Oh, sweetheart. How are you doing? You look great today.
I'm a princess, the computer princess.
That is so special.
Can we get going?
All right, all right. We have time.
I don't. I need to drop off Astrid at Mina's and then I have a meeting at the production office to show my...
Just start the car. That will teach me to ask you for a special favor.
Yeah, this is the third special favor this week, Marie.
Just go. In great.
Drive with these heels on.
Why are you even wearing these things?
Silly me, just dressing up for a business meeting.
Sweetie, what present did you bring for me now?
A Play-Doh pizza factory. I love pizza.
You look really flushed, dear. Are you too hot? Let me take your coat off.
Marie, what on earth are you doing?
Just for 1 second.
Forget it. Sit down. We're almost there.
Just watch the road.
You sit down right now. Stop that.
You are worse than a traffic cop.
Watch it, my script!
You're still writing for this garbage? Damn, Scavis. You might have the lowest self-esteem I've ever seen, but I must admire your perseverance.
No one asked for your opinion. I didn't sleep all night. I can't focus. Also, I'm too old for this.
Okay, I'm taking off my coat now.
Anyway, sounds like you're not yet too old to be a mediocre writer.
Marie, please. This is too much praise.
I have to prod you some way or another. You are so incredibly lazy.
And they keep coming. All these flowers. Really, I can't.
Nothing ever comes easy to women in this industry. I had to build it all myself. No one was there to help me. I slept 4 hours a night when you were born. I worked all the time to provide for your needs.
Oh, you really gave me everything, Marie, except perhaps self-esteem? Oh, and a father.
You're not making sense, June. You and your sister would be nothing without me, and you know it. You're both churlish and fearful. I gave you everything, and you're just squandering it all to write soap operas. Maybe you'd be a better writer if you had to toil a little bit more. Who knows?
Mom, I need help with the thingy.
What's that, my little phone?
Sure, just change the subject.
I am not changing the subject. We weren't talking. What am I supposed to say when you get mad like this?
I get mad because I believe in you.
Stop yelling!
We're not yelling, sweetheart.
Anyway, This little one is only one thing you've done well.
Speaking of which, if we could
But if you're
avoid...
mishandling her the way you fucked up your career, that's concerning. Children are delicate. They need protection. You can put even the best child in a shitty family, they're gonna blow up.
Wait, why are you even saying that? What are you talking about exactly?
I made some mistakes with you two, it's true.
We turned out okay in the end, didn't we? Whatever you think.
You don't get it. There's something hanging above our heads. All of our heads. Something that's about to fall on our heads if we're not careful. It's been there forever. Passed from one woman onto the next in our family. Like a disease.
Are you sick, Mimo?
No, sweetie, she's not sick. This is grown-up talk.
You're right, June. Love. Love of self. It's true, I don't think I taught you that. But I think that's because no one taught me either. Or my mother.
Okay, and so you're... scared for Astrid? Hold on. You, Marie, the great Marie de Mange, you believe in that nonsense? There's no curse on our heads.
Next time I'll keep my mouth shut.
Unless you keep it open, actually. I know hardly anything about your life. Not a thing. But I do realize that you had a hard time. And that you're scared.
I'm not scared.
I think you are. You're scared we'll turn out like you. But we can change. Everyone can change.
My dear daughter, I'm not sure about that. Do you think so?
I know so. And that's all thanks to you. You taught us that in your own twisted, painful way, but still.
I did what I could.
And in the end, you did give us the means to change things. You've taught us how we could blow off the entire world and do whatever we wanted. That's your way of showing love, don't you think?
Love isn't my thing.
Oh, Mom, come on. You love me and I know it, in spite of your best efforts to hide it. I can feel it, and I love you.
And I love you too, Mimo.
Oh, thank you, dearest. Makes me so happy to hear you say that.
I like it better when you're nice.
Why are you not in your seat? What are you doing standing up? Marie, why is Astrid completely unlatched?
She was sweating. I just took off her sweater. No big
Shit,
deal.
I told you to keep her safety belt on. Are you kidding me?
You know, you're so uptight sometimes. Unbelievable.
I am not uptight. I would just like you to...
Mom, watch for the deer!
It was you? You knew, didn't you? The fight, the unlatched safety belt. I'm sure you remembered, and you didn't say anything. You just hung me out to dry with my feelings of guilt. That's it. That's the real reason. That's why I was so mad at you. I'm sure that's also why you filled in this stupid paper with my name on it. You probably thought that if anything happened to you, it would be some kind of divine justice. I would have a choice of what to do with you. And now, I have to make the decision. So what am I supposed to do, Marie? I could agree to play by your rules. One last time. Very well, Marie. We agree. I'm going to tell the doctor not to take life-prolonging measures. That's what you would have wanted. But just so you know, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for Diane. She loves you, you know? She doesn't want you to die. But I don't want you to begrudge her for still being alive. I'm doing this for myself as well. Because I hate you. I hate you for what you did to Astrid. I hate you for my years of defenselessness and anger. And I think I'll never be able to not hate you. I actually understand your fear of not being completely there. I understand it because that's how I've always lived. It's horrible. And it stops today.
Mom, you promised we'd go to the park.
And we will. Just give me 5 more minutes, will you?
Mom!
All right, Achille. Here we go.
At last! Are you happy with your story?
I think so.
Fine. You'll read it to me later?
I'm not sure. It's not really a story for kids. And
I want to try the red stegosaurus today. Did you know his tail is actually a slide?
really? Can I try it too?
Only if we buy ice cream on our way back.
Seems like a fair deal to me.
Gone are the times when I fell into my bed like a rock with no